You know, we all think we understand what a smile means. It's a sign of happiness, right? But what if a smile could also mean I'm sorry, or maybe even this is a bit of an awkward situation? Today, we're going to look into the hidden meanings of a smile in different cultures.
So when you see someone smiling, your first thought is probably, oh, they're happy. And you know what? In many cultures, you'd be absolutely right. But that's not always the whole story. The real answer can be a little more complex.
You could almost think of a smile as a word. In one language, that word means one thing, but in a different language, the meaning can change completely. Our facial expressions are a huge part of how we communicate, but it's our culture that gives them their special meanings.
Okay, here's a perfect example of what I mean. In a lot of Western cultures, a smile is a pretty clear sign of happiness. Simple. But in Japan, a smile is often more about making sure an interaction goes smoothly and respectfully. It's really a tool for social harmony.
So let's dive into the Japanese way of smiling first. Over there, a smile is a really interesting social signal, and it means so much more than just simple joy.
Let's imagine something for a second. You're in a shop in Japan, and an employee makes a small mistake. They come over to you to say they're sorry, but they're smiling. Now, for a lot of visitors, this can be pretty confusing. How would you react to that?
For many people from Western cultures, that whole situation could feel a bit strange. You might even start to wonder if the apology is genuine. So, what's really going on behind that smile?
Well, the key thing to understand is that the person isn't trying to hide how they really feel. That smile is a social tool. It's used to make a difficult situation a little easier and to show that they want to keep the relationship positive and peaceful.
So, to sum it up, the Japanese smile can be used in many ways. As you can see, it can be a tool to keep things polite, to apologize in a nice way, or just to make a slightly awkward moment feel more comfortable for everybody.
It's not just about when people smile, but also how they show they're happy or laughing. And this brings us to another really interesting cultural difference: what people sometimes do with their hands. Now, before we go on, let's just quickly talk about one word, modest. To be modest just means you don't talk a lot about your own skills or good points. You don't try to show off how great you are.
And this idea connects right back to that word, modest. In Japan, you'll often see women cover their mouths when they laugh. This action is traditionally seen as a sign of being modest and polite.
Okay, so now let's flip the coin and look at the other side. In a lot of English-speaking Western cultures, the rules for smiling are actually pretty different. It's much more connected to what you're really feeling inside. In these cultures, a smile is usually seen for what it is. People smile to show that they are truly happy, or friendly, or that they think something is funny. There's this idea that your outside expression should match your inside feeling. So, because of this, smiling while you're talking about something serious or sad can be really confusing to the person listening. It might make them think you're not being honest, or even worse, that you just don't care about the situation. And hey, remember that gesture of covering your mouth? Well, here we see how the very same action can mean opposite things. What is seen as a sign of being modest in Japan could make people in the West think that someone is trying to hide something.
So, what does all of this mean for you? Especially if you happen to be learning English? Let's get into some useful advice.
Why is this stuff so important? Well, because understanding these small but really significant differences helps us connect better. It leads to clearer communication and helps you avoid misunderstandings when you talk with people from different places.
So here are 2 simple tips to keep in mind. First, when you're feeling happy or you just want to be friendly, go ahead and let your natural smile show. People will appreciate it. But second, when you're talking about a serious topic, it's probably best to keep your expressions serious too. This shows that you understand the situation is important.
At the end of the day, the most important thing to take away from all this is simple. A smile is a really powerful tool for communication, but it's not a universal language with just one meaning. The culture you're in gives it different jobs to do.
And that leads us to a final question for you to think about. A smile is just one cultural signal, right? What other gestures or expressions do you think are important to learn when we communicate with people from other cultures? It's a great reminder that there's always more to discover. Thanks so much for joining us.